Welcome to the YUTorah Uploaders Guide. You should already be logged in with an account on YUTorah, and you should have uploader privileges. If you don't, contact the office now and make sure you do. An indication of uploader privileges would be here in the settings, My Uploads and Upload a Shear. Now, assuming you do have those privileges, we're going to learn how to upload a shear. So first and foremost, you should open the settings, click Upload a Shear, and say, Welcome to the uploader form. You're going to have to be spending a lot of time with this form, so it's a good idea to get used to it, know all the ins and outs, and how to really take advantage of everything it has to offer in order to maximize the visibility of your shear, the views it gets, and the user friendliness of how it's set up. Now, this is the title. Let's start filling out a field at a time and get a sense for what is expected to be filled out whenever you're uploading a shear. First of all, of course, is the title, my YUTorah shear, number 37. We'll put a date. Obviously, we shouldn't go into the future. Let's go to a previous date. And we'll put a teacher. So, I'll pick myself, not somebody else. We'll write a short description of clarifying the machloket we mentioned yesterday. About avos nizikin, and continuing on to the next daf. Great. Next, we're going to figure out what kind of shear is this. Is this a text shear, which gives me a number of formats, whether it be let's say a Word file, PDF file, a URL to a file, or HTML, where I would type here, hello world. This is my shear. That's one option, but oftentimes people just upload a file. If you're gonna upload a file, you should know, first of all, you have to pick a language. Fine. But even if you pick Hebrew, this is so important. People make this mistake all the time. When you pick Hebrew, you can only upload a file that's name is in English. If you upload a file with a Hebrew file name, it won't work. It'll just show that the file is not there. So no matter what language your shear is in, if it's a file, it must be uploaded in English. Now, let's say I have an audio file. I'm going to pick File, English. Very good. I'm going to pick my file. So let's go to my folder with my shear recordings. Look, there's my YUTorah shear. Great. Oops! I got an error. My YUTorah shear is not an acceptable file type, right? Let's look again. This is my YUTorah shear. It's a .aac file. That's the file type that my recorder produces. I have to make sure I use a compatible file type, so I can't use that. So before I can even upload that shear, I actually have to convert it to something that YUTorah accepts, like an MP3. In order to do that, I recommend the following. There's a website called Online Audio Converter. It offers free audio conversions and doesn't have any ads once you use your ad blocker. You go there, upload your file, give it the best quality you can. It's pretty quick, depending on your internet, of course. You convert it to MP3, and you download. And it'll be done pretty quickly. You can also save it to Google Drive or Dropbox, but that's not going to help you so much here at the moment. Now you take that file, you could upload it right away, but sometimes you might want to cut out something in that shear. You might want to change or remove a snippet of audio, so I recommend using Audacity whenever you want to change anything. It's a free open source thing, lots of features and whatever, to edit your recordings. Help yourself. These are two good resources, onlineaudioconverter.com and Audacity for audio editing. Use them both, and once you have, come back to the shear uploader form and get to work. So, choose file. It's not going to be in this folder, it'll be in the previous one. My YUTorah shear, this is the converted one. Upload it. Mazel tov, it's working. Now, I could leave it at this, But this would be very unhelpful to my users, because my users have no idea what my Gemara shir is on. What do they care if it's number 37 in the series? They don't know what Masechet I'm teaching. They don't know what Daf in the Masechet. They don't know what Sugya. They don't even know anything about it besides the fact that I'm giving a Gemara shir. Yeah, they know a description, but that's not really going to help them so much. Because if you just expect them to read the descriptions, there are going to be pages on YUTorah that don't show the descriptions. It only shows the title sometimes. So you want to make sure that your title is as clear and descriptive as possible without introducing too many redundancies to other input parts of your shir. To be clear, what you should do is something along the lines of this. Who cares about the fact that it's your Gemara shir? Your name is already below that. You don't need it to be above. So we can leave the my out of this. But okay, Gemara shir. It's still not so helpful. So we could just put in, Gemara, let's say, Bava Kama shir. But that's still redundant. They know it's a shir, so you can get rid of the word shir. They know it's Gemara. You can get rid of the Gemara. So that still doesn't help anyone, because if you just write Bava Kama 37, especially if you're a shir assistant, you're doing yourself or your Rebbe a disservice by cheapening his Torah to be only about the number of his shir. No one will know, besides for you, Talmidim, what number shir this is. So in order to be clear, first of all, do yourself a favor and write the daf 2a to 3a, for example. Let's put it after the number 37. And then put in some highlights. Avos Nezikin. Definition of Toldos. Be clear, be descriptive. Tell the users, what are they getting themselves into by listening to your shir, and don't make them listen to the whole shir just to find out what you're going to talk about. They're not always going to see the description. Give them some highlights, give them some headlines to explain to them what's going on in this shir. That's a good, clear way to title the shir. And then things that aren't as critical, such as, Avos Nezikin, definition of Toldos, you can write down in the keywords, such as Nachlas David's Mahalech, or the Rav's introduction, or whatever else you want to write, difference between Shabbos and Nezikin, or Chatzi Tolda of Tzvi Pesach Frank. All those things don't really belong, or they could, but they're not as critical in this example to the title of the shir. There are more things that are covered in the shir, as points. So those can go in the keywords. Ran, Shabbat, whatever you want to do, should write those down in the keyword section, just so that when it comes to search, your shir has a lot more to say about itself than what you put in the title. Now, please don't end it there. Take advantage of the other organizational features that are offered for your shir, all the other details here in the uploader's tools. First of all, there's cataloging. Cataloging is the opportunity to help your shir be cataloged most appropriately so that people can find it more easily. So you can catalog it based on Gemara, Halacha, history, all sorts of things. I recommend opening these things up, going through them, reading through them, see what's relevant to you. But don't do that for every shir, just get a sense for what's there. And then once you've done that, there's a very handy tool here, the filter. You can type, I'm learning Bava Kama this year, so write Bava Kama, and then you have all the Babas show up. Wonderful. Also talking about Nezikin. So I can write Nezikin. If I was silly, I would write Avos. But that's not relevant to here. But notice how there are all these different categories to take advantage of. So don't just leave your shir, very bland and without details. Add some categories. Add a series. This is, if it's a YU daily shir, then it goes under daily shir. If it's not, it shouldn't. There's many different categories here, different chavuras, shiurim, series. Take a look, 10-minute halacha, 5-minute halacha, Rashi, machshava, all these different things. See what fits the shir that you're giving. Then, there's the location. There's a whole plethora of locations here, Baruch Hashem, where Torah is taught. Find the one that works for you. We're going to go to YU Wolf Campus, because that's where this shir is hypothetically given. Then you have collections. You might have user collections, such as things that you give a series that you've been giving. This is just the number of next one in the series. Or you might have collections for different things, see what fits for you. You can just ignore this, really. If you're a YU Rosh Yeshiva, or the Shir assistant of a YU Rosh Yeshiva, your Rebbe will have a category here, a collection here of, let's say, Rav Shechter Bava Kama 5779. So make sure every single shir that you upload gets that collection, so that it's crystal clear. And this way people can go from one to the next one in succession. Finally, Sefer and sources. This might not always be relevant for you, because you might not want to sit here and add every little Gemara that your Rebbe quoted in Shir, that you quoted in Shir. But let's say you're giving Shir on a daf of Gemara, daf Yomi or otherwise. So this would be most appropriate. You would go to Bava Kama, and you would type in the daf, or the series of dafim, and you would add them here to the side as follows. This way, when someone is on the daf page of YUTorah, all the shiurim that speak about that daf will actually appear on the side, including yours. There are other sources that you could add, but if you're going to make a source sheet, I would put it right here and upload it as a separate file. That way, your users will see it, your viewers will see it on the side and download it. So that's it. That's really all it takes to upload a shir. Now, a little word of advice. This little window is a little bit volatile, because if you go here and hit upload a shir again, watch what happens. It completely refreshes that little window, and then all of your hard work that we just put in is lost. Therefore, I recommend the following. Highlight the URL on the top of the upload window, copy it, and then close this window, open a new tab, paste it, and go. Now, make sure that you bookmark this page, so that whenever you want to upload a new shir, just go to your bookmarks, along with all your other converters that are bookmarked, and you'll have it right there. So you can, this way, you can upload more than one shir at a time, if you so choose, without losing the data from one to the other. That's basically all it takes to upload a shir. Note how you have your My Uploads page here, which shows you the past few months of shir that you've uploaded. It lets you view your shir, edit your shir. When you click on a shir, it takes you to the shir page. You can edit it as follows. And that would be a handy tool for you. And this is what a shir looks like when it's fully filled out and uploaded. There's categories, details. There's no collection on this one, a source or two, general info. This is just an example for you to follow. Again, do your best to not be redundant, but make your shir as visible and as user-friendly as possible. Hatzlacha rabba with all of the Harbat YUTorah and success in spreading HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Torah throughout the world. Kol tov.